Hello, everyone, and welcome to this December 3rd webinar, JMC's Feel Good Feast of New Features. Today, we're going to welcome you to a full course of the latest JMC innovations. Today, we'll serve up the latest innovations designed to make school workflows smoother, save time, and improve communication for staff, teachers, and families. From streamlined enrollment tools and teacher conference schedules to enhanced messaging and collaborative course management, you'll get a taste of all the ways JMC is helping schools work smarter and feel good doing it. And before we get into the meat of this presentation, we're just going to take a second to introduce ourselves. I am Rachel Cox. I'm on the support to training team here at JMC. I've been with JMC just about 3 years. I come to JMC after spending a little over a decade in the college classroom, and then I spent a couple of years as an elementary administrator. And I am joined today by Amy and Brian. Amy, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Rachel. I am Amy Wall. I've been with JMC for a little over 2 years. I was a high school counselor before that, spent a lot of years doing scheduling, things like that. So that's kind of my background here. And I'm just really happy to be here. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thanks, Amy. And Brian?
And I am Brian Wall, and I've been with JMC for about 2.5 years, part of the sports training team with Rachel and Amy, also part of client services. And in my previous life, I was a high school, middle school principal for 24 years and high school math teacher 10 years before that, and a JMC user for over 30 of those years.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brian. So as we're walking through some of these new features today, if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the Q&A feature here in Ring Central. Amy's going to be watching out for our questions today, and we will get to them between each section of our webinar. So to start, we're going to talk about ways that you can guide families and teachers through school conferences. So a problem that we identified is office staff couldn't look up conference schedules. When office staff can't view conference schedules in JMC's Teacher Conference Scheduler, they're unable to help families find or confirm appointment times, which leads to extra calls and confusion. Limited visibility also makes it harder for schools to monitor scheduling progress and provide consistent information. This lack of access slows communication and reduces the efficiency of conference planning. Amy, you want to walk us through the solution?
You bet. The new family schedules and teacher schedules reports solve this problem by giving office staff clear real-time visibility into who is scheduled when. With these reports, staff can quickly help families confirm appointments, answer questions, and ensure that conferences run smoothly. And I know, just a side note, when I went and did my last round of site visits and visited my user schools, I had 2 or 3 mentioned that they were super excited about this feature.
Yeah, why don't we take a live look at it? All right, so from our JMC homepage, I'm going to head down to our Teacher Conference Scheduler and Reports. So the reports that are new that Amy was just talking about here are this family schedules and teacher schedules. So if I click on my family schedules radio button here, let's see. Here we go. And I pick a conference coming up, and then I can find the family here that signed up for it. As of right now, I just have one family that has made an appointment, but I can select the family. I can look at the teacher and the appointment time for each student that's in that family. So this might tell me maybe I need to advertise my conferences a little bit better, but this is the way that you can look up conference appointments by family. So if you have someone call your office, say, hey, what time did we sign up for Emily's conference? Easy way to look that up. And the other way that you can look up the conferences through JMC Office is by teacher schedules. So if I click on my teacher schedule radio button here, now I'm going to have a list of all of my teachers. So I'm going to see here if Mr. V has any conferences. Well, here's where I can see the conference day, the times that are available, and I can see that they're all open as of right now. I'm wondering, it doesn't look like I can schedule them from here, but it might just be that we don't have any students scheduled into Jake's courses. It's a little bit tough with a demo database. You don't necessarily have as good a data as you all have at your schools. But again, 2 ways to really help keep the office staff in the loop for the conference schedules, because teachers had the ability to see, all of the families that were on their schedules, but you couldn't do that easily from the office. And so now it's an easy way for the office to be that central hub of information. Anything else that I should mention on this, Brian or Amy? Anything you want to add?
No, I think it's just a great tool for office staff who are expected to know everything. And this puts all that information right at their fingertips.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, families still have the ability in JMC Family to view their schedules like they always could. But, we all know that it gets to be conference night. They walk through the door and like, oh no, I can't remember which teacher was I starting with. So it's a great way for front office staff to be able to have all of those times and appointments up and ready for that evening. All right, Amy, do we have any questions on the new teacher conference scheduler reports?
We do not.
All right, well then we will move on to the next feature that we're thankful for. We're going to talk about improved student visibility. Another problem we identified is it was hard to quickly identify students. Staff often spend extra time confirming student identities, especially in large schools or when multiple students share similar names. This slows down data review and increases the risk of errors. So Brian, you want to walk us through the solution?
Yeah, now our solution is that student photos are prominently displayed. JMC now displays those student photos more prominently on the View Student Data page, making it easier to instantly recognize each student. I know as a former principal, I really appreciate a feature like this, particularly when a group of new students, new cohort comes into your building. You've got a lot of names and faces to learn quickly. This allows you to help you do that.
Absolutely. So we can take a live look at that here. Here we go. And this was one of those ones, like when this rolled out and the first time you go to that View Student Data page and you're like, there's that picture. And of course, I pick one that there isn't a picture for.
Of course.
Of course, that's how it works. There we go. Of course, your pictures probably look a little bit more like the Life Touch or, those standard school pictures. But I agree with Brian, especially when you get those new kiddos coming in, to have that picture right there so you can easily put a face with the name before you maybe even get a chance to meet those students. I know I love when I'm helping schools that call in, need some assistance on an issue, and you pull up these records and you get to see all those cute faces. So it's a really great feature.
And not to go too far on a tangent there, but, in addition to being able to upload your files from whoever your school picture provider is, it's really easy just to snap a picture even on your phone and upload it here for students that might come in mid-year.
Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you for mentioning that. All right, Amy, any questions on our View Student Data page?
No, not at all.
Okay, then we'll keep on rolling. All right, our next topic is adding co-teachers to courses and assigning access. So the problem that we found was that there was limited access, which can slow down collaboration. So previously, only one teacher could manage a course at a time, making it difficult for co-teachers to update assignments, post grades, or track student progress efficiently. And now, when we were setting up for this webinar, Amy said, I really love this feature. So Amy, why don't you walk us through this solution?
All right, well, now multiple teachers can access the same course. JMC now allows multiple teachers to access and manage the same course simultaneously, supporting co-teaching and collaborative course management. Just select an additional teacher from a drop-down list of your school's teachers. So just a great feature. The first thing I thought of with that was like special education teachers really wanting that access. Use the Teacher to Gradebook Access dropdown to set the right permissions. Choose no access, attendance only, or full access to match the co-teacher's role and give them exactly the level of access they need.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I know at our school we had a year where we had two co-teachers for second grade. We had someone retire and weren't able to fill the position right away. So we had two people taking on that position, and that was an issue. One teacher just logged in as the other one, but this solves that problem so that both teachers can log in using their JMC login information, setting that grade book permissions to the right level that you want for each of those teachers.
Well, I even think of like the rooms where you have a paraeducator that's in there a lot, and sometimes they do want to just take the attendance. The teacher just prefers to get started and have that person do it, and so they can access attendance, but that's it. So that's nice.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a live look at that feature. So where you set this up is on the schedules, course, edit course data page. So you'll find the course that that you need to add an additional teacher to. So I will go to my kindergarten math class here, and I'm going to head to teachers. And you can see here that I have each term of my course, and I already have a second teacher here. So let me add that second teacher to semester 2. So I'm going to go ahead and click edit. And here I can select my teacher. See if I can find Mr. V again. Here he is. And like Amy said, you can choose from, no access or attendance only or full access. So whatever access it is that second teacher should have, go ahead and select that, and then go ahead and hit update. And then both of these teachers will have access to this particular course. Yeah. Any questions about the teacher 2 or the co-teacher option, Amy?
There is. So does the Minnesota one, this is our Iowa database, does Minnesota have more teachers? Can you add more teachers than what we're seeing here?
In different states, there are. And I know Nebraska is just a little bit different as well. And Nebraska, I think you have to outline whether or not that teacher is the teacher of record. Okay. So I know different states have slightly different options.
Because there is a question, is there a way to get teacher 3 to have access to the grade book? So that's why I'm wondering, because we have a Minnesota teacher or Minnesota staff person here.
Okay, well, you know what we can do really quick is I can log into a Minnesota database.
Minnesota database, yeah.
Look at that.
Rachel has access to everything.
I can see it all, guys. Okay. So in Minnesota, see, and this is now Minnesota is just a little bit different. And a lot of this has to do with state reporting and what requirements your Department of Education, have when it comes to identifying teachers. But yeah, so for Minnesota, we've got, you have teacher, and then if that's a teacher of record, you'd have teacher 2. And again, you have to identify if that's also a teacher of record, and then you have a teacher 3 position. So I'm not exactly sure
what
is the difference of, what those requirements are for Iowa, but that might be a good question to either reach out to maybe our tech support, but it might also be a good question to bring to your Department of Education and just ask what the regulations are for that.
So hopefully that is helpful, Ashley.
Yeah. Any other questions?
I do not see any at this time.
All right. Those were great questions. All right. And if we don't have any more questions, then we will move on to talk about managing report card forms. So a problem here was that risky report card cleanup. So users hesitated to delete old standards and benchmarks report card forms because they couldn't easily tell whether a form was still in use, creating a risk of accidentally removing something teachers relied on. Brian, you want to tell them what we did?
Sure. So our solution, in-use report cards cannot be deleted. The form designer now prevents users from deleting a standards and benchmark report card form that is actively in use, adding a built-in layer of protection. You can update your report card forms by visiting Form Designer, Report Cards. This sounds like the kind of feature that I would need. I need to be protected from myself sometimes, Rachel, so I don't mess things up for my teachers.
Yep, I would agree with that. So we can take a live look here. Just have to make sure that we pull up a form that I know is in use. Let's see. So from my home screen, I'm going to head to my form designer and my standards and benchmarks report cards here. Expand my screen here a little bit. Okay, so I've got this JMC demo school. I'm going to try to delete this form. And I'm going to select this is the form I want to delete. And if I click delete form, you get this pop-up and it won't let you do it. So this is great because a lot of reasons, like nobody wants to delete a form someone's working on. No one wants to delete people's report cards. But sometimes your report cards get named things that are similar. So you might not realize you might be grabbing the wrong one. So this is really handy to make sure that you have that extra layer safeguarded there so that you don't accidentally remove something that you need in that particular term and you don't want to lose any of your data. So I know that this was one that our forms team was really excited about, this innovation.
And I think it's really good because you do want to go in periodically and clean up your forms so you don't have a bunch of old forms in there to confuse you. And this allows you to do that without worrying about doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you're kind of a little type A, like I tend to be, I do like to have old things kind of cleared out, making sure it's not something that you're using anymore and it's retirable, and then getting rid of that off of your list of report card forms. I know Brian and Amy are surprised to hear me say that I'm a little bit type A. All right. Any questions on our new report card form feature?
Just to clarify, this is a statement here. It will not delete these also when it was a report card used, say, back in 2021. So does it keep those report cards stored in there with student information? I think that's what we're getting at.
I think I see what you're saying. And I believe so. Like once you have used those report cards, like they'll exist in that year's database. I can double check that one. Who's asking that question? I can get the name down and I can answer for sure, but I'm fairly confident that once you, if you're deleting it out of the current year, that it wouldn't retroactively delete it out of past years' databases.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just making myself a note.
Okay.
That's Ashley. Okay. So I will double check for you, Ashley, but I'm fairly certain I'm right on that. All right. Okay, so our next feature here is meeting families' communication needs. So the problem that was identified here is that there can be some communication barriers for multilingual families. Families who prefer a language other than English often struggle to understand school messages and navigate the JMC Family Portal, leading to confusion and misinformation. So a solution that we're working on here at JMC is the ability to set a family's primary language in JMC Office. So JMC can now support multiple languages across the Message Center and the JMC Family Portal. Office staff can select a family's primary language directly in JMC Office, ensuring school messages are delivered in the language that best supports each household. And then families can also select or update their own primary language in the JMC Family Portal, giving them control over how they receive communication from the school. So this is something new. We're still rolling this out, but I'm going to go ahead and show you a live look here. Okay, so I'm going to start from my JMC home screen, and where I'm going to go first is to attendance, contacts, edit contacts, and here you can find a primary contact, and let's see, is it at, what am I missing here? Here it is. I just couldn't find my drop down. So right here under the email address fields, you've got the message center language. So messages that are sent out to families from your message center, you can select the language that they would be sent in. So there are a couple languages, as you'll see, that our translation service can only translate like the written communication, so your texts and your emails. Otherwise, the other languages will also translate in that voice to text option. So when you type up a response and then it's read in that kind of more computer voice, those will all be automatically translated for families in that language that they prefer when you send the message. It's no extra work on your end when you're using the message center. So if I went into the message center, which I'll head to here really quick. So go to the message center, send message. If I'm emailing, if I'm texting, or again, that email, text, and phone, so that text to voice, those are those options that would be translated in real time. So there's nothing that you have to do when you're sending out those messages to ensure that they're translated, as long as that preferred language has been selected. I would just come in, I'm just going to select text message here. I would type in I don't have any text messages there. Try this again. I would just type in the content of my message, and just a good thing to note, I would just type it in English. So some of our bigger schools who have kind of been waiting for this feature to come out, if they have a large Spanish speaking population, for example, a lot of times they would write their message in English, and then right below it, they would write the same message translated in Spanish. But you don't have to do that anymore. So you just would type it in one way in English, and then that would be translated. You wouldn't want to put it in two different languages and then try to translate it. It would lead to some problems. So type it in English, sends automatically, translated in real time to those families. So families can either contact you in the office, where you'd make that change like we were just talking about on the attendance, contacts, edit contacts page right here. The other thing that you can do in JMC Office is that you can change the way that students receive their messages. So if a student has a different preferred language, on the View Student Data page here, if you have the student's cell phone number, this little phone icon here, you'll see I get this little hover message that says right click for message settings. So if I right click there, I get that same thing, message center language, and you can select the preferred language for a student right here, same way that you do it on the edit contacts page. So there's an option here. But families can do this on their own too. They don't necessarily need to contact you in the office. So I am going to open up a new tab here and log into JMC Family. And once I'm logged in, if I go to the contact information page, again, same drop down list right here. So families can go in, they can select their preferred language on their own. Now, if families go in here and make this change, it does show up in JMC Office. When you're on that home page and you get those alerts over here, you'll get an alert that a family has updated their contact information. You'll have to accept that before messages are sent out in that preferred language. So yeah, it's a really, really cool new feature that we are working on rolling out right now. Does anybody have any questions on that preferred language setting?
I do not see any questions at this time, Rachel.
All right. Anything you want to add, Brian or Amy?
No, I think just to clarify, you said it's rolling out now. So if they don't see that selection yet, it will be there. It's coming.
Yeah, yep. And if you have any questions about it, or you're interested in learning more, you can reach out to our support or to our training. So either support at jmcinc.com or training at jmcinc.com to get a little bit more information about it. All right. So if we don't have any questions, then we will take a look at our next innovation. We'll talk about making a strong first impression with new families. So a problem that schools have had is the complex, time-consuming process of enrollment. Families often face confusion and delays with paper forms or outdated enrollment processes, and school staff spend excessive time collecting, verifying, and entering student information. Amy, you want to walk us through our solution?
Certainly. So the solution is JMC's new family enrollment portal. The new family enrollment portal lets families submit student information digitally and securely from home, making enrollment faster, easier, and more accurate while reducing the need for paper forms.
Yeah, and this is a feature that I really love. I was often the person, meeting with new families over the summer, trying to get their information into JMC. If you have a paper form, it could be reading their handwriting. And if it wasn't that, sometimes just, if you type the wrong letters as you're typing it in or something like that, this is just a way to safeguard against those data entry errors. And it's faster. Families can just put it in one spot rather than coming in, talking through it with you, putting in an email, you taking it and typing it back in. So it's just a way to eliminate those steps, make the whole process easier for your families, but it also makes it a lot easier for you in the office. So we've got this is what it looks like here for families. This is the form that they'll fill out. And then, sorry, Amy, I stepped on your toes before we got to the part here. That's really exciting.
Fine. Last time I didn't look ahead, and this time I did. So I knew. Well, I'll just go ahead and read here. Office staff can review, manage, and approve enrollments efficiency in JMC, saving time, reducing data entry errors, and keeping the process organized and streamlined. Just like you said, Rachel.
Yes, I was so excited. I
know.
But yes, this is a feature that we used a lot at our school. And now with that refresh form, it looks really nice. It's really easy for families to follow. It walks you through step by step, which I'll go ahead and show you. I'll come back here. All right, so from your JMC landing page, so if you have a new family coming in and you want to use the new family enrollment portal, my tip is if you come here and click on this chip here yourself, I would send this link right here to families rather than having them try to decide where do I click, which thing is the one for me. If you click right here on new family enrollment, take this link, then you can send that to a new family and they can go right here to get started. Another thing to note is that there is a help center here for new family enrollment. So let's see, there we go. So if I click there, parents or guardians start here. Here's some how-to information to help your families walk through that. And I believe that they can even access these in Spanish. So the new family enrollment portal is available in Spanish as well. And so are those resources to help walk them through it. But from here, they would go ahead and click Get Started. This message is totally customizable, so you can put in there whatever you want families to first see. If you want to make sure that families enter in information for at least 2 emergency contacts, this would be a place where you could communicate that. So this is all set up in JMC Office, but it's all customizable. So what families see on this page is exactly what you want them to see. And then they click Get Started, and you can see up here, families have this nice little roadmap to show them where to go and how far they are in the process. But they start by entering their parent and guardian information, then emergency contact information, then the student details, any additional comments, and then they can review and submit it. When they get to this review and submit part, they will get a message right away saying that, the school has received your application and to just, wait for more information about that, more information from the school. And then on the JMC office side, again, that's where you would get a pending enrollment submission. So you can see right here, I've got a pending enrollment submission. And this is that other piece that Amy was talking about, how it's really easy to take that family information and review it, accept it or decline it. So what you see is you've got the contact information first. So the first thing that families fill out, that contact information, that's also the first thing that you review. So if you don't want to import the contact, you can uncheck it. Once you check it, then it will import all the information here and create like a primary contact for the student that will be enrolling. So that's your first contact there. You can see it's primary. And then here where it says other, this I could change to emergency because this would be the emergency contact information that the family filled out. So you start by reviewing the contact information and then you see the new student. So if I just click this little triangle here, then I see all the information that was provided about the student. And if I feel like this all looks great, I don't need to contact the family for any clarifying information. I can go ahead and hit accept, and that will create that record in JMC. There's still a little bit more that you'll want to do once you create that record. You may want to send that family the online registration link so that they can fill out all of those custom questions, and you can get the health information and all of that. This just really creates that shell of your JMC record so that you have the student demographic data, you have the contact information, but then you'll want to make sure that you complete that enrollment piece as well. So any questions? I got a little long-winded. Like I said, this is a feature I really like. It was one I used a lot. But any questions or anything you want to add, Brian or Amy?
No, I don't see any questions.
I was just going to say, just that last piece you said, just to clarify that. So if I were a family I would only fill out new family enrollment once when I was new to the district versus online registration, which is something I'm going to do every year for my children once they're enrolled.
Exactly. Yep. And once you, like you said, you're new to the district, that's when you do this new family enrollment form. And after you've completed this, and this has been accepted, then you automatically can start logging into JMC Family. You just go ahead, you head to the family login page. Well, maybe I have to actually delete this part out of my URL. So once the family's information has been accepted, you have an automatic email that goes out to the family saying, hey, congratulations, your information has been accepted. Those families can then come right here to JMC Family. They can type in their last name and then click forgot password, set up their password, and then they could get started right away on that online registration. So Brian's right. New family enrollment is just for a one-time use, brand new to the district. Online registration, that's what we often call that back to school registration. That's what you complete every year. That's where you get those details about, like if your student is driving a car to school, that's where you can get allergy information. If there's been a change to your address, all of those details that you want to keep updated year to year, that's in that online registration. All right, any other questions?
I do not see any.
Okay. Then we're going to talk about staying up to date on student progress. So a problem here that's been identified is time-consuming teacher gradebook access. Office staff often need to review grades, look at their progress, or publish dates in teachers' gradebooks. Logging in as the teacher means navigating multiple steps or requesting help from teachers, slowing down those workflows. So this is Brian's favorite feature. So I'm going to let Brian talk about this one.
Well, it is my favorite, Rachel. So our solution is the Teacher Gradebook Quick Link. Head to File, Admin Dashboard to find the Teacher Gradebook Login Quick Link. This handy link allows office staff to log into a teacher's gradebook, giving immediate access to review scores, progress, and publish dates. This feature isn't new, but if it's new to you, it's a huge time saver. I know when we go out and visit schools and point this out to administrators and office staff, if they weren't aware of it, they're pretty excited when they see it. It is a big time saver. Don't have to log in as that teacher anymore. And the nice thing about it is that it, again, protecting you from yourself. You can go in and look around, view some data, things like that. Maybe help a teacher troubleshoot something an issue they're having with their grades, but you don't actually have edit access to those grades. So you're not going to mess up that teacher.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a live look. I do like that Brian is often trying to save himself from himself. Okay, so I'm going to go to File, File, Admin Dashboard. Here we go. And then the quick links over here. So this is where you have that teacher gradebook login. And I agree with you, Brian. I know there was a school that when I did my site visits this fall, I showed this to, and they were just like, oh my gosh, it's just changed my life. And I think that I know that happened earlier in the fall too, when I was out visiting or calling or talking to someone. I can't remember, but it was one of those reactions like, I didn't know this existed. So if you click that teacher gradebook login, all you have to do is select the teacher whose gradebook you need to see, and then click OK, and it automatically logs you in. And like Brian said, you can look around. This is great for helping teachers troubleshoot. I know I would always get questions about like reminders on how to do report cards at the end of each trimester, and I would have to like be able to look at the file path to know, you know, here you go here and then do this and then click on this. But this is just a way to easily do that without having to, you know, find the teacher's login information, log in as them, or, you know, wait for them to log in and look at it together. It's a time-saving feature. All right, any questions on the teacher gradebook login?
There are no questions.
I think while we're here, I'm just going to give the quick links in general a little plug. If you don't kind of look at them often, and I know I was guilty of this too, you know what you're there to do that day, and JMC, you go to that page and do that thing. But the quick links over here in the blue right margin, they are always there to help you with whatever it is that's in the middle of the page. So it just offers some shortcuts or another page that might relate to this page. So don't sleep on the quick links. They can be really helpful. I know, Amy, you and I were just working with a school yesterday, and we were talking about, hey, there's this quick link over here that's super helpful.
Right.
Make sure that you visit that. So each page has its
Right.
own set of quick links, and they are there to save you time.
And Rachel, I feel like too, I say this often, they get updated all the time. Like even as I'm working in things, I'll be like, oh, that's there now and it wasn't there before. And I needed that in my life and I didn't even know it. So
Yes.
I feel like quick links, they're constantly adding things that are super helpful.
Yep, I agree. So yeah, make sure you take some time, review them, even if you think you know it's there. Like Amy said, they might be updating and making your life even easier. Okay. And then we're going to talk about connecting the whole school community. So a problem here is limited communication reach. Schools and community organizations often struggle to keep everyone informed using traditional communication channels. Important messages can get missed, and there's no easy way to send targeted updates to specific groups within the community. So our solution here, the Community Messenger, is now available as a freestanding platform, allowing schools to keep their entire community in the loop by sending direct messages to anyone who signs up based on the content they want to see. So non-school organizations like churches, parks and rec departments, youth groups can also purchase Community Messenger to communicate efficiently with their own members using the same powerful messaging tools. So if you're a school that uses Community Messenger to help reach, you know, other people in your community, maybe alumni or, you know, other groups like that, that's great. But this is also going to be, it is a freestanding platform as well. So it's not limited to just schools. You know, I know recently I've been trying to set my child up with some behind the wheel and get some information about driver's ed. So parks and rec departments or community education, like this would be a great tool there as well that they could use to communicate with broader groups. So we can, yeah, we can take a live look here at that Community Messenger.
Okay. Well, Rachel's getting that up. I think the power of that Community Messenger is that targeted messaging. I think a lot of schools, we have just defaulted to using social media for a lot of that messaging. It's kind of a shotgun approach. It's, you know, just all your messages going to everybody that's on social media, whereas Community Messenger lets the school be more targeted and lets the recipients also pick and choose which messages they really want to receive.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'll do that too, even trying to go into social media, which don't use a whole lot. And then to try to find that exact message that I want can be kind of an uphill battle for me. So yeah, when you can log in and get exactly what you want. And I'm going to log in as Paul. And I apologize, I'm running a little slow today. All right, but here we go. So here is the dashboard that you have that gives you a lot of information about the messaging that you are sending out during the month, contacts that you have, how many messages are sent, frequently contacted groups, a message log. So there's a lot of great information here. You can have some online shortcuts. But that piece that Brian was talking about, I think really the strength here is the groups. Oh, that's just our contacts. I'm sorry. And this is how you can target that communication. So I can send out messages to people who have identified that they want to receive messages about athletics or band, but I can message multiple groups too. So there's just a lot of ways that you can communicate within your own school community. You know, you've got your message center there for that, but you can broaden that to the larger community that does support your school, because it's not just about the families and the kids that are in your school. A lot of schools, well, all schools, I think, rely on the community support as well. And so this is a great way to keep them in the loop, because they want to know what's going on. They want to show up for those things that are important to them. So like we said, available for schools, but also now a freestanding platform. Anything else you want to add, Brian or Amy, about the community messenger?
Well, you mentioned the message center. You know, some of your messages you maybe want for both your internal and your external audience, and there is a way to link directly to the community messenger in the message center.
Absolutely. So if you go to Message Center, send messages. So we were here before. So if you're sending your messages by grade, if it's an email, text, whatever, if I click right here, include community members, all members, or I can select those targeted groups that we were just talking about. So I can send a message from my Message Center to my families in my school, but then also those community groups or community members that I've identified as well. Yeah, great point, Brian. All right, any questions, Amy?
There are no questions.
Okay. Then I think we are at the end of our features that we are thankful for this year. Mm-hmm. So we will wrap this up. And thank you so much for attending today on behalf of myself and Brian and Amy. Thanks for attending this webinar, and thank you for choosing JMC.